Hi, this is Kelly. I've had people ask about making bread, and I was gonna go ahead and show you what I do. Today I'm gonna make a half a batch, which is like 2 loaves, and I wanna thank Pam for videotaping and the 2 dogs for helping. Let me go ahead and show you what we've got here. All we need is 2 bowls, flour, Crisco, yeast, tablespoon, egg, fork, spatula, sugar, Pam, half a cup, 2 bread, and a bowl. Oh, we don't need this. That's for later. Here's what we're going to start. First, we start with a half a cup of Crisco. And what we're going to do, and I'm going to try to make this as quick as possible, what we're going to do is we need to put this in a bowl and warm it up in the microwave. And that usually takes about 45 seconds at full heat, which is no big deal. So we put this in the microwave we'll start with 45. After a while, it'll let me know. The other part is some warm water, half a cup again. You don't want the water hot, just kind of like, just a little bit warm. And what this is going to be, thank you, Logan, Rag, thank you. What this is for the yeast. And what we do here is we put the yeast in here, because this is going to have to sit for 10 minutes. And while the, see, it's already 45 seconds. While the Crisco is settling in, then this will be rising. We take 1 tablespoon of sugar, drop it on in there, stir it up real good. This is the best part of the bread, is the yeast, because it smells so good. So we got that pretty much mixed up. There's a lot of flakes on the side, but that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Also got a little Crisco in there. That ain't gonna kill anything. This is a guy's version of baking bread. So we don't have a totally clean kitchen, and we don't have, you know, pristine stuff going on here. That's okay. So now here's what's going to happen now. This is going to sit for 10 minutes, and the Crisco is going to thaw and melt down. And in the meanwhile, after 10 minutes, we'll start in on the next part, and I'll be back in just a few. Okay, through the magic of television, the yeast has raised up. This has been 10 minutes, and we have the Crisco is nice and melted. What we're going to do now is we're going to take 1 egg, just 1. Told you it's a guy show. And we're going to beat it. Beat it! Beat it! Don't you make me repeat it! Boom, 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 boom. Then we take 1/4 cup. This is a half a cup, so we take half of it. We take 1/4 cup of sugar. Ta-da! Drop it in there. Boom. I'm going to take this same one because we don't want to waste anything. We're going to fill it 3 times with warm water. Of course, there we go. This is a cup and a half of warmish water. There's 3. Boom. I'm going to beat a little bit more. We're going to take a half a cup of sugar. I already did that. Huh. That would have been sweet. Now, what we do now is we add the yeast mixture. Yeah, I know it looks nasty. And we're going to take the Crisco. Drop it in there, start stirring. This goes into the sink where my wife will later on clean it. Okay? No, I won't. Of course I will. Now, what we do now is, it says a certain amount of salt, but what I do is, I usually do about that much. That's it. I don't like too much salt in it. It doesn't seem to do anything for it. Now, we have all the ingredients in here that we need. The egg, the sugar. Almost did it twice. The salt. But what we're going to do now is, this requires 5 cups of flour. But I don't need that because I can tell just by the consistency of the dough when I've got enough in there. You'll see for yourself. And I don't want to get another cup. Oh, don't do that. Ugh. So you can see it's already starting to form up real good. Oh, and by the way, I put the salt in at the very last minute because salt tends to deactivate some of the process. And that's why, number 1, I don't use very much. And number 2, it's just easier. I don't have to use up another little item. Alright, it's starting to come together. That's been about 4 cups, thereabouts. And that's thereabouts 5. That's pretty close to 5. It's already gone into a ball. Now it gets messy. Boom. The dough is really nice and warm. So that, on a winter day like today, that's always really nice. Need a little bit more flour. Yes, I stuck my hand down in there, so what? I'm trying to move as quick as I can. I'm not on a live TV show. I also have clothing on because normally I do this in the nude because I don't want flour all over my clothes. But I will spare y'all that. Okay. Now, we have gone that far with that. What we do now is we put it on the table. Put this in the sink. Fill it with water. Because we're fixing to reuse it. Now we just beat the hell out of this dough. It likes it. Quit giggling. Just take out all your frustrations. Every once in a while, if you feel like it's getting kind of soft, let me turn this off. Look out, Logan. If it feels like it's a little too wet, just add a little bit more flour. It's not going to hurt anything. Just make more bread. That's all. This really is not too terribly far from being ready. Fold and knead, fold and knead. And to be honest with you, the more you knead it, the better. What that does is that really activates that yeast. Also, I'm fixing to put this into the oven, not on. The oven is not on, but we're going to have to let it set and raise for 2 hours. What I do is I put it in the oven and I turn the oven light on. The oven light adds just enough heat to make it want to rise a little bit better. Also in the oven it's out of the way, and as we all know, noise tends to make things fall. So it's a really good consistency. I'm going to clean this off. That's ready to go. I'm going to wash this off real quick. Doesn't take too much. All is sterile. Make it look kind of pretty. Now, my hands are a little bit, that's okay. Now what I do is I prep this bowl. I use a little pan and I spray it. Put the bread in, the dough in there, push it down just a smidge, spray the top of it. And I have moistened this towel because this sucker is going to go this way. So this is a pre-moistened towel so that it doesn't stick to the cloth as much. It still will. Put it in the oven. I'm going to wait for 2 hours. It's not even on. Don't even worry about it. It's not even on. So we wait for 2 hours for it to rise. I'll be back in 2 hours. Shh, be very quiet. It's been resting. It's been 2 hours that this has been in here. And let's see what she looks like. Alright. So what we do, I guess I can talk louder. There it is. And this is why you wet the towel, because that does tend to stick. Put that aside. I'll clean that later. And I'm going to dump it right there. This is done, by the way. Don't need that anymore. Now, I have already pre-floured this, because that's what's going to go in next. But basically how I do that is I spray with some Pam, put a chunk of flour in here, flour up the bread pan, and like I said, this is my half batch. Normally it makes 3 large loaves. Alright, So I got this here, and I'm not going to knead it again. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten it out into a rectangle. There's my math example for the day. A lot of people knead it some more, but what I prefer to do is flatten it out because it basically does the same thing, but for the next process, it just makes life a little bit easier. As you see, here's the bread pan, and I'm going to make 2 of them, so it's going to be there and there. See, it works out just fine. Alright, so I line it up, and finally the spatula gets used. It's about time. Right, Billy? Alright. By the way, warm bread on a cold day when it's Sleep-mageddon, it's a really nice night. Alright, so I'm going to cut this right down the center. It's about 2 halves. Just roll it up. I'll fold in the ends just to make it kind of pretty. Flatten it a little bit, smooth it out, drop her in. And I'll do the same thing with this one. Roll it up, smooth out the ends. I heard that. And that looks kind of pretty right there too. Plop it in. Plop. Now, what I do, I just pan the top of it. Doesn't matter what flavor of pan you use. Then I take these, take them up back to the oven, which is not, repeat, not on. Don't let them touch. Notice that the light is still on, and that'll keep it warm, and it's going to raise even more. This is the last time we'll touch the bread loaves until they're done. However, these have to raise for 1 more hour, and in 1 hour we will start turning on the oven. Remember, it's not on right now. I'll be back in 1 hour. Okay, it's been 1 hour that this has been raising, and by the way, we've got ribs going. You know, it smells so good. Anyway, it's been 1 hour, and this is what they look like now. So they've raised substantially. So all I got to do now is, since it's been an hour in there raising, I'm going to turn the oven up to 375 degrees for, oh good Lord, that's a close-up. 375 degrees for 15 minutes. And yeah, it's a cold oven, but that's okay. I'm going to turn it down a little bit because our oven runs a little bit warm. So anyway, 375 for 15 minutes. And with all of what we've done so far is we mixed up the yeast and the water and the Crisco and set it for 10 minutes. Time for a break. Perfect. And then after that we mixed everything together and put it into the bowl and let it raise for 2 hours. That's another wonderful break. Lots you can do in that amount of time. After we did that, we put it down on the counter and we laid it out and put it in the pans, set it in the oven that was off, and let it raise for another 1 hour. We've already gone through that. We turned on the oven It's heating up. The raising process is done now, and I'll be back in 15 minutes. Oh, hi there. Anyway, it's been on 375 for 15 minutes, and here's what it looks like now. You see, they're nice and tall. They're not quite brown yet, but that's okay. Yum, yum, yum. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn it down to 350 degrees. And we're going to do that for another 25 minutes. 25 more minutes. And that's it. It'll be then bread. Well, hi there. It's only been 25 minutes that we've been baking this at 350 degrees. Remember, before that it was 15 minutes of 375. So you remember what that looked like? Oh, please.
It looks the same.
So here's what they look like. They are ready to come out, and hopefully the dog won't jump in there. So we take these little puppies out, and we're going to put them right here. Oh, I'll clean that later. Put that right there. That is hot. We'll take the other one out. And we'll put that one down. Now, a lot of people, what they'll do is they will take the butter and butter it down and so forth. But what I do a lot of times is I will let them cool for a good 30 minutes or so. And that way I've got one ready to go, and the other one I'll put in a gallon Ziploc bag, and it'll stay fresh for a long time. So I don't usually butter the top of it, except for one that we're going to be eating right away. And rarely do I do this, but I'm going to do this for you guys. I usually don't cut into it until it's kind of cooled down for about 20 minutes, but since y'all are special friends, this is for you. Thank you, Pam, for video, and the dogs for staying out of the way. Peace and love, and blessings.